I'm Danny Kleppinger with an America East Alumni Spotlight, and who better to start this segment off than with Fiona Nugent, who is one of our superheroes on the front lines of this pandemic. But in case you are not familiar with Fiona, she graduated from Binghamton University in 2013. She ran cross country, did track and field as well, and we're just really excited to get to talk to her about her career. So Fiona, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you are a nurse practitioner in sports medicine at Columbia University Medical Center. So before we go any further, I am curious to know how this pandemic has affected you and your unit.
Yeah, I work in outpatient sports medicine. Our department has been heroic in the way we've handled this pandemic. A lot of our nurse practitioners and physicians, surgeons have been redeployed to the ICUs, to the emergency department to offer their help, as well as our registered nurses have been on the floors. We've also been doing telehealth visits to help cover patients that are suffering with COVID-19. So it's been pretty amazing watching my colleagues do things that may not be their typical job description, but they're handling it very well.
It's so impressive. My mom is a short stay nurse, and I've been listening from afar. She's obviously not in the same state as me anymore, but she's going through it as well. And I'm just in awe of what you guys are doing and the way that you're able to just kind of train yourself along the way just to help people in transition like this during this time. Well, I really appreciate it. But that's heavy stuff. And we want to talk about the exciting stuff of your career because there's definitely a lot of that. You get an opportunity to work with New York Yankees and the New York Football Club. So that sounds pretty cool. I've got to know how you got that gig, what it entails, and what it's like to work with professional athletes.
Yeah, as a former athlete, I have to say I have the dream job that I've always wanted. I graduated Binghamton and I went on to Columbia University where I studied nursing and did my nurse practitioner degree. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Chris Ahmad. He's the team physician for the New York Yankees and the New York City Football Club. And he really took me under his wing, and I started working with him as his nurse practitioner. And he showed me the ropes of orthopedic surgery, which was amazing, as well as working with the teams. It's pretty great to see these athletes come in, and they're very humble, and they're very much like the rest of us as athletes, me and you even. When we get injured, we have to go into the doctor's office just like everybody else to get care. But we also do see a lot of collegiate athletes as well, and which is great. Where we used to be collegiate athletes, we know exactly where they stand and they need to get care and get back. And a lot of what we consider is their seasonal timing. So where are they in their season helps dictate, do we be more aggressive or do we be more conservative with their care?
I think anybody that's around athletics totally understands, the strategy that goes into something like that. And I'm sure you bring a lot of those athletes, they're calm, their nerves down, knowing that you were an athlete once before yourself. But a little bit about your background in terms of how you were recruited to Binghamton. You were recruited as a pole vaulter, but then by the end of your time at Binghamton, you were running sprints and doing cross country as well. So you obviously know what it's like to adapt to different roles and what that skill probably has helped you certainly now in this pandemic time. But what other skills and maybe just different, I'd say, attributes of a student athlete helped you in your professional career?
I would say hands down, the most important one is time management. At Binghamton, the academics there are extremely rigorous. And then you have track and field and cross country, which is essentially a year-round sport. So you really have to learn how to manage your time, how to manage the track and field schedule, get into the weight room, as well as stay on top of your studies. So I think that is probably the biggest thing I've noticed. And as well as track and field is a team sport. A lot of people think of it as an individual sport, but you find a lot of your classmates, a lot of your teammates tend to follow similar class schedules. So you all study hard together, you train together. And so I think teamwork is definitely a big attribute as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally can see how that would translate, especially in what you do. I do, and I have heard that you've seen other America East alums in action as professionals. Can you tell me what that experience was like? And then just in general, what it's like to be a part of the America East Alumni Network?
Yeah, covering the Melrose Games. I've done it 3 years now as a medical provider, and it was pretty amazing seeing America East alums, especially Jessie Garn from Binghamton, and Ellie Purrier from New Hampshire. She, in the last Melrose Games, broke the American record, which was amazing to see that and be right there on the track next to her. And I've seen her run at conferences, so it's pretty amazing to see that. You got to have a lot of big America East spirit when you see them on the professional stage.
It's very cool. You've clearly done so much since graduating. It's been really fun to pick your brain. And quite honestly, I could do it all day because I got nothing else to do with no. But you actually do have stuff to do. So before I let you go, the last thing I want to ask you is just what advice would you give to current student athletes that are trying to decide what to do in their professional careers, or maybe different skills that they should make sure they hone in on before they graduate?
I think, one, you should keep every door open. As a sports medicine nurse practitioner, we're kind of a rare breed. So I didn't really know of that role, but you have to explore everything. You explore the field of physical therapy as an athletic trainer. You explore every field and you'll find the field that best suits you, as well as having a mentor. I had a lot of mentors throughout college and as a professional. So having a mentor to bounce ideas off of and to get more ideas and to learn from them is invaluable.
Man, that's some good advice. I hope everybody was listening and took that in, because you were so awesome to talk to. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you giving me a reason to do my hair finally, maybe get off the couch and out of a sweatshirt. So I do appreciate that, and I appreciate your time. And thank you again for everything you're doing with this pandemic.
Thank you so much for having me.